Arthur Crook with the Wall Street Journal with my lovely wife Jennifer Krieger, and episode 9, the Battle of Blackwater Bay, just happened, and it was amazing.
First shameless plug, though. We got to interview, wait for it,
Kit Harington,
Jon Snow.
We interviewed him earlier this week at the office of the Wall Street Journal, so please click below in the annotation. You can see we actually talked about this weekend's episode, which we just saw, but we'll have more clips of it later this week. But first, I've been waiting for this all season. When I read in the book, it's the most visceral, incredible...
They'd been saving all their money for this episode.
So what did you think?
Well, I mean, it blew my mind because I was expecting something. I was expecting Saving Private Ryan type long shots of beaches, of people just being maimed en masse. Mm-hmm. And this was...
You were thinking more of like a spectacle.
Yeah. And this was the tightest, most focused, most personal episode that we've seen. It was unbelievable in terms of the fear in the faces of the men, the brutality. I mean, we've seen that before, but this was something so different. I wasn't expecting it at all.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned Saving Private Ryan, because I got the sense that this episode would be good when you see like the really scared soldier vomiting at the beginning, and it just reminded me of that scene in Saving Private Ryan when they're like vomiting as they're about to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And again, the director Neil Marshall, who directed this wonderful movie, The Descent, and a couple other really cool movies, he gets in your face, and he gets in the characters' faces, and it stops being about, you know, you don't really care how many ships you see, you don't care how long you see the wildfire, you don't really care, you know, how many big shots you see. It's more about the sweat and the fear, and like when that great scene with the Hound when he's seeing all the fire, and it's visceral. It's great.
And the juxtaposition between what is going on with the men and what is going on with the women.
Absolutely.
I mean, Sansa and Cersei, those scenes were...
I think Cersei's the best part of the show, this episode.
Well, this episode, but in general, I just think that her interaction with Cersei in this episode was just some of the most searing and just poignant.
And you know what's interesting? I think you're right, because she has this kind of cynicism about the whole process, because she realizes that all these women here, they're the spoils. Like, these men are out there fighting, and it's their wars over and over and over again, and they're the ones who end up suffering.
Well,
that's why she has the executioner there ready to kill everybody.
And she's upfront in saying that she wishes she was born a man.
Yeah.
She wishes she'd been allowed to fight.
Yeah.
She didn't want to just sit and look pretty and be demure and be a princess and be a queen.
We had a disagreement right before we started taping this, because I said that one of the things I'll give the show is that Joffrey is the most horrible character in this entire series, but that moment where he decides to walk away from the battle, for just a moment you see on his face the realization that he knows he's a coward. And for that actor to convey that, and even for a moment give you the slightest empathy for Joffrey, whether it's lasting, it's not lasting because he's horrible, but you'll get the sense that this is a character that is not self-aware, and in that moment he's incredibly self-aware. He knows he's a coward.
I never thought he wasn't self-aware.
Really?
I always thought he knew he was a coward, and he just kind of reveled in it.
He was just reveled in a coward, or that he just
didn't care.
Yeah.
It was a complete and total. He just it didn't matter that he was a coward.
See, I think the exact opposite. I think he actually thinks that
he thinks he's a hero?
I think that he thinks that, because he's been trained all his life to believe that the moment that he, you know, with his sword, and he's like kiss the sword, he thinks in his head that the moment that he fights Stannis Baratheon, he'll win because he's ordained to win.
Oh, see, I think
he believes that. I think he truly believes that, and then when he sees the armies for the first time and he panics, he becomes human.
But his family is a family that does not believe in that God, that all-knowing, all-powerful.
They're the land. They just believe in all the different gods. Yeah.
I just don't think that he believes that I think he completely thinks that he's his mother's foil, and he knows it.
No, I think he's bought into everything.
I think that his modus operandi is survival. And
Joffrey?
I
completely disagree with you.
And by survival, just kind of like enjoy every moment of it.
No, I think he's been raised to believe that he is... I mean, he's been told that he's destined to rule since he was 10 years old, and I truly think he believes that he's a hero, and he saw that he wasn't.
Well, destined to rule and a hero are not the same thing, though. Destined to rule, maybe. I would buy that.
I think both. But anyway, speaking of destined to rule and a hero, Tyrion. He has his great, well, we'll have to see what happens next week, because he was certainly maimed, at least.
He was definitely looking pretty rough.
And it was done to him by one of the Queen's men. So there you go. It's kind of interesting, right?
It was searing. That was searing.
Yeah.
I do have to say that his speech, his Henry V moment, as we call it.
His Henry V moment. Once more into the breach, Joffrey.
Yes, I loved it. I thought it was great. I wish, though, that in terms of the entire episode, they had these close-up shots of all the men and their reactions. I wish that they'd showed the transition.
You think it happened too suddenly?
Them walking away from him and them getting behind him. I felt like that happened in his face. It didn't happen in their faces. And that was a fascinating moment, and I think it was legitimate. I just felt like it was one of those things where it just
rushed.
It was a missed opportunity.
You know, it's interesting. I've been thinking about what didn't work for me this episode, and not much.
That was the only thing.
The only thing about this
hands
episode
down.
that I missed was Tyrion's chain. Which, if you're a viewer, tell me in the comments. Did you miss Tyrion's chain? Because that's a big part of the battle.
You had to explain Tyrion's chain to me.
I'm not going to do it now.
It
Tyrion's chain
was pretty
is cool.
amazing sounding, I have to say.
Anyway, so you know what? I'm going to go crazy, and I'm going to give this 5 golden dragons.
Wow.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes. It was just
the
direction
this is hands
was
down the best
beautifully
episode
done.
I think of this season.
No, absolutely, of this season. I mean, it
the
had
juxtaposition between the
and
battle
the way
and
they ended it with her speech to her son was great.
and just about to oh my god, yeah. No,
So-
and the scene with the spider in the beginning was great
absolutely.
too. No,
Yeah.
I would say that this is definitely I would say 5.5
Direwolves.
direwolves.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you so much. This
was an awesome one. And please tune in later this week. We'll have more from Kit Harington, who played Jon Snow, and season finale next week.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Thank you guys. Love you, sweetheart.
I love you.
Bye, guys.